What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our Week 13 NFL preview and picks. As always, I got Ethan joining me, and you're going to see in a minute why this is a big week for these picks. But as always, subscribe to our channel, get us to 200 subscribers, where we'll be doing an autographed item giveaway. And all you have to do to be entered is just be subscribed. But we're going to jump into it and look at last week's picks. And Ethan had the big week, and now we are tied going into Week 13. Big week upcoming for both of us. But Ethan, we'll talk about last week. Which was the best game probably that you saw and you picked it right?
All right. Well, the one that I picked right that would be the best game, I would say, would be Pittsburgh Indy. I mean, I got to talk about my Steelers. Really good signs showing from Kenny Pickett. If they can play like that, if their offense can kind of play keep away and they can get that run game going, they could win. They could break off a couple wins and end up being 500 again.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I think for me, we're gonna go with Baltimore, obviously, as you were about to say before I cut you off there. It's a frustrating loss yet again for them. Fourth quarter has just not been their friend at all this year. But Jacksonville, you got to give them credit. This is, I think, their first game that they've won in a while that they have done in the fourth quarter, like came back and won. So they finally got one because, they've been playing in a lot of one-score games this year as well. But obviously, then you got to talk about Denver because it's hit the
man,
fan. Let's just say that it has hit the fan, and I think Brett Ripon might be time to warm up. But we'll move to our guests. Obviously, we stink at getting guests on here. It's been a while, but the teams on the bye, you got the Panthers and the Cardinals, two teams that need some wins coming out. What do you have to say about them?
well, I mean, Panthers got a good win last week. Other than that, there's not much going on here with the Panthers or the Cardinals. Just really trying to figure out what's going on for the Cardinals, especially for next year. I mean, Kyler saying their F word schematically, like they can't have that. It's just a bad look for them. Hard Knocks has really gotten to them, and hopefully they can bounce back for next year. But
And then starting off our game today, you'll see the Bills and Patriots. And I think this game is going to be a great game. It won't be a defensive one that I think people are kind of expecting for the Patriots. I think the Bills are going to put up 28. Patriots probably around 20. So hit that over. I think the over will hit in this game. But I like Buffalo here. It comes down to the quarterback play. And obviously, when you have Josh Allen versus Mac Jones, you got to go with Josh Allen and the weapons around him, obviously it helps him. But the running game is going to be pivotal for the Patriots because Damian Harris is out already and Ramondre Stevenson is going to have to carry another workload. So for fantasy owners like me, I'm very thankful for that. But I don't know if it's going to be enough for him to really get the win over Buffalo.
yeah, and I think the reason why the spread is so low for the Bills is because they're in New England and Thursday night football, it's tough for the offenses. So I think it could be a low scoring game. I mean, it's a possibility. I think if the offenses don't get or if the Bills offense doesn't get hot and get in a rhythm, they could be around that 20 to 27 point range. Still think it's going to be enough to win the game because New England struggles a little bit offensively, but like you said, Ramondre Stevenson should have a very big game. But last time they played, didn't look too hot for the Patriots and that playoff game. So I got to go with the Bills here.
And then moving over to Sunday, we got my Packers going on the road to face, hopefully, Justin Fields and his Bears, two teams that have disappointed essentially this year so far. The Packers pretty much have to win out, and same with the Bears if they even have a remotely chance to get into the playoffs. And that's a long time away for these two teams. But I got to go with my Packers here on the road. If Rodgers plays, which he's trending towards playing, he owns the Bears, and you can't bet against Rodgers when he's playing the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. Definitely going to start Christian Watson this week, even though, the Bears usually have a good secondary. I think they're ranked like they're top 10 against the pass. I know that. Still, Packers, Bears, I mean, it's classic. I don't think matchup really matters, except for it's just Aaron Rodgers against the Bears defense. I mean, he usually does pretty solid, and he's going to do enough. Not sure about Justin Fields. If Justin Fields plays, this could get really interesting. If not, I think the Packers are just going to score too many points for the Bears to over.
Actually, I don't. So we're gonna move on to the next video, next to your slide. And I'm going with the Falcons over your Steelers, and I think this is a big game for both of these teams, but it means more for the Falcons to stay up in the NFC South race. They are a half game down to Tampa, and Tampa loses, they win. Obviously, you get your division leaders here at 6-7. It is going to be a tough game for the Falcons, though. The Steelers have looked like a new team ever since TJ Watt has been back. Pickett's been playing great. Him and Pickens have a great connection as well. Deontay's getting more involved. But obviously, the health of Najee Harris is the big question mark surrounding those Steelers. But if he doesn't play, I think that's a good sign for the run game because they're going to be moving guys in and out rather than just relying on Najee the whole time. So it could be a good change up for them. They have struggled running the ball this year, but I do
Yep.
like the Falcons coming off a tough loss.
All right. Well, I obviously like the Steelers here. Got the Steelers football shirt on. Shout out to my boy Thorpe. Probably not watching this, but if you are, he's a Falcons fan. So got to give the credit. I mean, the Falcons have been a good team this year. Marcus Mariota has been just enough for this Falcons team to just run the ball and play with that pretty decent defense. I do think the Steelers and George Pickens is going to have a breakout game this week. He's had solid games, but I think he's going to score 2 touchdowns in this game. And Steelers are going to look pretty good on offense, I think, as long as they don't lay a dud. And TJ Watt didn't really hear his name much Monday night against the Colts, but Sunday is the afternoon game where he's going to get a good amount of sacks, 4 or 5 sacks. He's really going to get to the
Big prediction, big prediction. But we'll move on to a game that should be the biggest lopsided game of the week, I think. But the Ravens can actually close a game in the fourth quarter after their brutal loss last week. But I don't think it's going to matter because if you score more than 17, you're going to beat the Broncos. And I don't think the Ravens are going to have a problem. Even though the Broncos defense has been pretty good this year, I think a very underrated defense that's not getting enough credit because of Russell's struggles. But I got to go with the Ravens bouncing back here at home.
Yeah, I mean, I got to go with the Ravens as well. But isn't this just a Broncos thing where they're going to pull a dud game last week and come out and then beat the Ravens? That's something that I think the Broncos would do. I hate picking them. I'm never betting on them. So this game I'm staying away from. Absolutely staying away from.
And then we got the battle of the 4-7s, and a win here could possibly get the Lions into the playoff picture, which is crazy to me. I mean, maybe even the Jaguars as well, but the AFC is a lot harder to get into than the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lions have looked like a completely different team since it hit November. Now we're going over to December. And how is this Lions team going to play? Are they going to keep playing like they have been in recent games, or are they going to play like the first few months and struggle a little bit? But I think they're going to continue their great play. Goff, he just can't turn it over. And if he does that, he gives the Lions a good chance to win every single week. So give me the Lions, even to cover as well, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Lions as well. This is a very interesting game. The records don't really indicate that, but both teams are really exciting on offense. I think if you're gonna put up some sort of bet where it's like highest scoring game, I think this is the game you're gonna want to bet on because these defenses aren't too good, and the Lions score a lot of points at home. The Jaguars keep it close, so lots of points to be scored. I was really back and forth about this because the Jaguars have been playing good football. But like you said, the Lions have really turned a page in November. And even that loss against the Bills, like they had it down to the final seconds, and that could have went either way. So right now they could be sitting at 5-6, which would be crazy, but obviously they're not. But the Lions have looked great. I gotta take them in this game.
And then we got Deshaun Watson going back to his old stomping grounds in the Texans. And obviously it's a big game for the Browns as well, not just because Watson's back, but because their playoff chances are looking slim to none. Brissett did a decent job holding down the fort, but it just wasn't enough. I think if they were 5-6, I would say they have a better shot. But just some tough losses, losing at the end, missed field goals, have gotten to this spot where they should go in and absolutely dominate the Texans. But obviously the line is only at 7 because we don't know what Deshaun Watson we're going to get. Could be super rusty. Hasn't played football in like 2 years, it feels like. So we're going to have to go from there. But obviously I got to take the Browns because how can you not pick the guy that hasn't played football in 2 years? I mean, that's pretty easy.
Well, there's one reason why I'm picking the Browns, and I think this could be a lot closer than we think. It's because Nick Chubb. I mean, Nick Chubb's just the horse that runs this offense, and they're going against the worst running defense in the league. So I think if Nick Chubb gets his touches, He should have a very big game. I think Deshaun Watson's going to look rusty, but it's not going to really matter. Obviously, they're going against the Texans. Texans suck. So yeah, the Browns are going to win it. I don't know about covering or anything like that, but the Browns should come away with a win here.
And we got our second disagreement here. I'm going with the Jets on the road. Mike White's going to put out. And I just think that the Vikings aren't going to have two great repeat performances against some good defenses. Thursday night on Thanksgiving, they looked really well. Everything was going right for the Vikings. Got a few breaks too. So that helps, obviously, when you win in a one-score game. But I like the Jets. It's a new look Jets with Mike White. I know they were going against the Bears, and maybe I'll have to pump the brakes a little bit here. But it seems like the chemistry just got instantly boosted when he was playing with the team. Zach Wilson's probably going to get traded in the offseason or something. There's going to be a big storyline along with him. But he is just not the guy for the Jets. And the big question heading into this game is the ground game for the Jets as well. James Robinson didn't play last week, healthy scratch. Carter got hurt. Zonovan Knight obviously had a breakout game. So all three of those guys could be involved here, even Ty Johnson too. So if they can get a consistent ground game going, don't be surprised if these Jets pull off an upset.
Yeah, and the Jets looked really good last week with Mike White, and obviously the Jets defense has looked good all year. But I just think Minnesota at home, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock Kirk Cousins at home. I think they're going to play good football, and I think they're going to be able to throw it over the top with Justin Jefferson and all their weapons they got. So give me the Vikings here. I think they could cover, but if you're a betting man, I'd just go with the Vikings money line.
And then you got a huge game if you're an NFC East fan. Commanders, Giants.
Any of those, but
no, not really. Not really. But we got a big game, and I think the Commanders are going to come out on top because of Chase Young returning and having a dominant impact in this one. The Giants have really started to fade off very slowly, and I think it's going to continue here with Heineke throwing for 2 tutties, having a great game, making no mistakes. And I think this is one of the most underrated offenses in the NFL because Heineke does do a great job of managing the game, and he has great running backs to run the ball with Brian Robinson Jr. and Antonio Gibson. So give this team some more praise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why not? We might as well give the Washington Commanders a playoff berth after this one, I think. I mean, they've been playing good football. Definitely momentum-wise, they're ahead of the Giants here. The Giants have coming off a bye and then a loss. So they haven't won a game in about a month. That's all right. The Giants, they're still going to be a solid team, but a little cool fact, I mean, the season ended today. Isn't it that all the NFC East teams are in the playoffs? Mm-hmm. Which no one would have predicted. I mean, if you put $1 on that bet, you'd probably make $2,000 or
yeah.
something. Jeez, that's just crazy. But going with the Commanders here, everything you said was true. I think the same thing.
And then we got a big upset pick for both of us here. We got the Titans going on the road to beat the Eagles. I think for me, it's a Derrick Henry bounce back game. And if you're an Eagles fan, I think this is the one you're going to really be kind of a scared matchup. That defense for Tennessee has been really good as well. Last week, they gave up 20 points and lost to Cincy, and that's the most points they've given up since week 2 of this year. So if that's the case, it's been 3 whole months since they gave up 20 points in a game. And I know the Eagles' high-flying offense could really, give them some fits here. I do think it'll be above 20 for the Eagles, but I think Tennessee is probably going to win this one 24-23, something along those lines. And it's going to become on King Henry, having a really good bounce-back game.
Yeah, and I just think this is just not a good matchup for the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles run the ball really well. Titans stop the run really well. The Titans run the ball really well, and the Eagles haven't been able to stop the run as well as of late. I think this is just not the right matchup. Titans always play close games. Close game might be more high scoring than you think. If Derrick Henry can run the ball, it's going to open up the pass game. And I think the Titans are underrated in the passing game just a little bit. So, yeah, give me the Titans. This is going to be an interesting game and a really interesting 1 o'clock slate. I mean, one of the best ones in at least a month in these 1 o'clock games.
And then moving over to 4 o'clock, we got Seattle going on the road to the Rams. And I'll talk about the Rams here. Disappointment already this year. You can already write it off. Donald's out for a month. Kupp's out for the year. Stafford, who knows what. I mean, Allen Robinson's out for the year. So essentially, this team is just kind of playing for who's going to be on the team next year, it feels like. The defense has not been as good as we thought it would be. And the offense obviously is pretty much just gone. There isn't really a consistent offense anymore. So give me Seattle on the road here. I'll probably even take the spread because I think they'll win by at least 10 or more.
Yeah, I think if they can get that run game going with Kenneth Walker, this should be a nice coasting game. I mean, like you said, the Rams have about 10% of their guys from the Super Bowl, it feels like, and they don't even have their first round pick. So that's really tough for the Rams. Planned for next year, I guess, kind of. I mean, if they can stay healthy, they're still a good team, but this just wasn't their year.
And then you got probably the best game of the week, I think you could say. Miami going on the road to San Francisco. And I think this is the most, probably the toughest pick I've had to pick all year. I really wanted to take the Dolphins, who have won 5 straight, but you got the Niners at home, who have won 4 straight. And this one is going to come down to the run game. And this is where I trust the Niners the most because this is what they do: ground and pound, bore you to sleep, and then go over the top, and Kittle's there for a 60-yard touchdown. So I know that the Dolphins have the high flying offense, fun to watch. Do they have the most electrifying offense in the NFL? But it's going to come down to the run game in this one because it is going to be a low scoring game than I think most people anticipate. So if that's the case, give me the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. That Niners defense hasn't given up a point in over a full game now. Six full quarters, I'm pretty sure, is the exact amount. So Niners defense is looking really good right now. Pair that with the really not explosive offense, but they can be explosive. And against this Dolphins defense, I think they can get it done, score enough points. I think this is going to be one of the best games this week, like you said. There's some other games on that list too, but this is going to be a really good one.
All right, so we got the Chiefs going on the road to the Bengals. Should be a great game, another great game like we were talking about. You got the Chiefs 9-2, Bengals 7-4, getting Mixon and Chase back. So that's big for them. But the Chiefs, you got to wonder, are they going to go 0-3 against Burrow in their last 3 appearances? I don't think so. I think this is the one the Chiefs really take it to them. I think they're going to cover as well because if they win this game, I think it's going to be by at least a touchdown. The Chiefs are going to show their dominance. And, Tyreek Hill, who? You don't need him for these kind of games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. I think the Chiefs are better without Tyreek Hill. I mean, it's hard to say that because Tyreek Hill is a super talented wide receiver, but they just get more open. And so, but yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs here. Bengals are getting their players back, getting healthy. Jamar Chase finally's back, so he could have a big game. But game of this is probably America's game of the week, I'm assuming, because the 4:25 start. Chiefs should win and cover.
And then you got not as good of a game, but it is a meaningful game for the Chargers and the Raiders because, if the Raiders can win this one, that'd be 3 straight, get them back into the hunt. And then the Chargers would be at 6-6, kind of limping into the playoffs. But the Chargers do have a very favorable schedule coming up. A lot of their opponents do have losing records. So maybe the Chargers could be a dark horse team that's going to squeak into the playoffs and make a run, kind of like the Bengals did last year. Don't count them out yet. They haven't been healthy at all this year. They finally praying that Mike Williams and Keenan Allen can last through a whole game this week, assuming Mike Williams does play. And that'll be their full offense back in action. I think it'll be good to see. I like the spread here. Got to go with the Chargers spread because if they're going to win like the Chiefs, they're going to win big here, really put up a lot of points.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really entertaining game. Chargers can't really stop the run, so watch out Josh Jacobs, He's going to have another big week. This is going to be a really interesting game. Excited to watch it. Chargers should win it. They're the team with the playoff hopes, and I just hope that they can win the game that they're supposed to win so they can make the playoffs. They're too good to not make the playoffs. Justin Herbert's way too talented. So that's what I got to say about that.
And then moving over to the night game on Sunday.
Oh, what a crappy Sunday night game.
Yeah, you got the Colts going on the road here to Dallas. Dallas should probably blow them out. We saw them dominate the Giants in the second half on Thanksgiving, and I expect it to continue. They've had that fluke loss at the beginning of the year to the Bucks where Dak got hurt at the end, didn't really play well. The loss to the Packers hurts as well. And then the Eagles lost with Cooper Rush. So they've had 3 not questionable losses, but meh. I mean, what do you take from the game? More than likely, they should have won the game at Lambeau for sure. So they should be a 9-2 team, but a lot of people are already thinking Cowboys getting Odell, this and that. You know, they're going to be really good. They're going to be Super Bowl favorite. I mean, I kind of am hopping on the bandwagon. I honestly don't think they need Odell either. They got enough weapons. CD has been the guy. Dalton Schultz has been a great number 2 for Dak. And as long as Ezekiel Elliott is healthy and getting his 15 touches for over 60 yards and a touchdown in a game, there's going to be no stopping this Dallas defense, Dallas team with their defense.
Yeah, and you also got to mention Tony Pollard in that. Getting him involved in the passing game is huge. In this game, if the Colts want to win this game, they have to get Jonathan Taylor going. That's like the only way. If not, it's going to be a long day.
And then our last game of the week, we got a big game in the NFC South. If the Saints win this one, then it's going to be crazy in that division. I mean, even the Panthers are still alive at this point. But I got to bet on Brady at home, prime time. It's tough to go against Brady, but he has struggled against the Saints. He is 1-4 against the Saints with his only win coming this year, when he's been on the Bucs at least. The big question for them is Lenny, playoff Lenny. Is he going to be able to go, or is he still going to be hurt? And it's going to be Rachaad White. And is he going to be the answer? So they are kind of questionable at the running back position right now, but they do have good depth, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So give me the Bucs.
Yeah, I just think the Saints are headed in a downward spiral to end this season, or towards this end of the middle of the season. Buccaneers do have a tough time against the Saints. That's proven. This is a really good rivalry. That's why they put it on Monday Night Football. So I think it's going to be a good, solid, close game. If you like defensive games, you're going to want to watch this. It's going to be a 19-13 type of game. I'm taking the Bucs. I just think Tom Brady, and they need a win on primetime game. I don't think the Saints, who aren't very good, aren't very explosive, I don't think they're going to be able to get it done.
And that's it for our video this week. Hit that like button down below if you liked it. Comment what you guys think of our picks. But until the next time, Bench Buddies are out.
She never called back.